And we are going live. You are live.
We're live.
We're live.
That's how we start every live.
Yeah.
All right. So thanks for being patient. It has been quite the day today. So Jake came into work and then immediately got sick. So Jake is home. So I'm stepping in. I do grow a fine beard. I do. As we get older.
And then I recently shaved mine, but it's coming back in.
Yeah. So I'm being, he's not catching the old lady joke.
I got
it. All right. Anyway, so we're excited about this journey with the Kimberbell Wallflower mystery quilt. And so today we're going to just start with the free little guy. So what happened is we went down to market and we signed up for it. And then we came back and somehow our addresses got to our old address. And then the holidays happened.
Yep.
And then people at Kimberbell were on vacation. And then we were, all of that good stuff, right? So we're here. And we're going to start with the ladybug. And then we're going to add next week the January block. So we're going to make sure we go through every step of the way. And we're super excited. And we do have fabric kits that we finally, that some of the fabric due to where some of it has been a little bit delayed, but we're going to be okay. We have fabric kits that are coming. So there's a pre-order for those and we're going to cut them per person. So let us know. So there's going to be a link below for that. And I will also put a link. There's, if you look at 2025 Kimberbell Wallflower hanging,
yep.
All of the stuff is going to come up there. So the other thing that is going to happen here is we have the wall hanging, the fabric kit, but you can do this scrappy. It's all good. We have the embellishment kit. That's super cute. And in there we have all of these great things like some of this foam that we're using today. Soft and stable. Some of these cute little notions in here. That's super great. Look at all those cute little buttons. We have some other pieces that we're going to be using that are in here, the embellishment kit. Some fun little pom-poms. There's some really great stuff in here. So this is going to be available as well for pre-order. And we'll be able to add some of this in here. We're getting some of that as well. Like I said, with Kimberbell, it's been a little bit tough over the holidays. Holiday hours are always awesome. But we're getting there. And then there's going to be a thread kit that we can order from Havendash, and that as well as a link as well. So again, we're going to make two of these. So we already made one to do a test run. Woohoo! And what fabrics are we going to need today, Greg?
We are going to need this green fabric with flowers, and that's the background fabric.
What size is that?
This is 5.5 by 5.5.
And what's on the back?
And to limit puckering, we're going to use stabilizer in the hoop cutaway, but then we're also going to put some fusible stabilizer onto the back of this. And then we need two different 3.5 by 3.5 squares. This red for the wings. Mine are a little bit bigger than 3.5 by 3.5 just because kind of a little extra. And then this black for the actual body of the ladybug. We're only going to need 3 threads for this. We are going to be doing the quilting as you go with the embroidery machine. So for the background quilting, we are going to be doing a cream thread, and then black for the body, and then red for the wings.
So you would want to, if you wanted to make your ladybug a different color, you would match your thread to your fabrics. So you could change that up.
Yes. Yeah. So something close to your wing thread or your body fabric, and then something close to your wing fabric. And then something that blends well with the background. So this cream will blend well with the greenish background. You're going to need, for the actual ladybug, the instructions for the ladybug that you get from an email. They're downloadable. We just printed them out. And then if you're doing the background quilting, as you go, the tips and tricks, it's about, I think, 12 pages. You need that as well for the actual background quilting.
I see some other fun tools over here. What do you have over here?
You'll need tape because we are only hooping our stabilizer. So we're not hooping any of our fabrics. We're going to be taping it down as we go. Any good tape works if you have good painter's tape or whatever. But we used, shoot, I forget what this was, what tape this was. But it's fusible tape on one side and then sticky on the other side. Two different scissors, a small duckbill scissor, because there are some corners that you have to get into and that kind of thing. So that's nice for punching through the fabric and getting into the corners. And then this curved scissors specifically for embroidery.
Here, let's do this. Let me see if I can put this up here. Trying to see if I can.
And you can show them down here as well.
Oh, there we go. Let's get a little bit closer.
I can get that. So
right here.
Like right here. Yep.
There we go.
So that's the curved ones. That's kind of nice for getting into tighter spots and cutting the foam especially.
All right.
And then the duckbill ones. Do you want to show them?
Yep, we'll get the duckbill ones. We have baby little duckbill ones.
Small ones because there are tight. Cutting around the body and around the foam gets a little tight. We are going to be using the Baby Lock Meridian 2 to be sewing this out. So I'm going to go ahead and get threading with it. We're going to start with our cream thread for the background.
You got to make sure we can see your face when you're talking.
I will close this once.
Oh, thread is such a fun game, isn't it? There you go.
Oh, no, it's fine. I don't need to have a sharp point for this because you guys will see my favorite feature of the Meridian 2.
All right. So we're still in the big camera, right? We're going to be talking a little bit more for the first time. Big camera. Plus, that's why Jake and I are anyway. So Greg and Jake will probably be the same way. We're hoping Jake's not too sick. They got the family bug, I think, when his family were together.
So I got it in the needle setter. Favorite part of the Meridian 2, I just hit this button. Once I wake the machine up. And go through all the safety features, and the machine's going to want me to move it. Hello, Cathy and Judy.
I got to keep watching.
Thank you guys for joining us. I'm now good to put the hoop on and hit this button. And now we are threaded. So no having to mess around with putting the thread through the needle.
Hey guys, you're both on YouTube. That's awesome. Love it.
And because we're doing the background fabric the background quilting as well, I'm actually going to be loading both of them up on my machine at the same time, making sure they're centered on top of each other and that it's doing the quilting first. And
moving forward, we're going to have a camera back here looking at the front of the screen. We just realized today that we wanted to make sure that we got to you guys. So in the future, we're going to be able to show you the buttons from the front side. So please just be bear with us so we can go buy another, computer camera. We get to go camera shopping. Woohoo.
Can you cut out a piece of batting?
Can I cut out a piece of batting?
Up there?
I think so.
That's something we forgot.
We can totally do that.
And this is a step that you can skip if you are not doing the quilting as you go for every block. About 5.5 by 5.5.
You got it. This is a great time to use up your scrap fabrics that you have, but we all know that as embroiderers anyway, that we love to keep our scrap fabrics, right?
So Cathy, you can stop in at any point to get the startup. You'll just get emails for all the downloads. Do you know more specifics about, just kind of getting into the Cathy is asking about?
Right. So from my understanding, the conversations that I've had with Kimberbell, since this is new for us too, so we're going to be learning together, which is going to be fabulous. I love learning together. So every month, I put you guys already into the system now, so you're going to get downloads every month once you pay for the digital designs, which they're on our webpage. So if you want to invite your friends to continue on and to join into the group, we can do this all year long. That is going to be great. But I just can't guarantee things like the embellishment kit, because once those are gone, I can guarantee the thread because I can order that. And the fabric, we have enough for quite a few kits. But so once you pay for the digital downloads, I'm going to input your information into Kimberbell, and then they're going to send you the designs every month. So January just went out on the 1st. We are going to always do this bearded embroidery, the guys. I'm going to kind of hang back. They're going to go ahead and do this on the first Friday after the 1st. To give you some time, but yet we're going to be able to catch up. We can rewatch, redo, retry, all of that good stuff. So invite your friends to Bearded Embroidery. It's going to be a good time.
And the digital downloads are on our website. That once they purchase that, we will.
Once we purchase those, you purchase the digital downloads. I'm going to take your information and put it on your Kimberbell account, and Kimberbell is going to send that out every month.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and start sewing. We are first just going to be sewing down the batting placement line. So this is just going right on the stabilizer.
So we're going to switch cameras. Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be important.
Very important. See, we're learning. You guys get to hang out with us and learn how we can be embroiderers and filmographers at the same time. So I was thinking, Greg, that maybe sometime we need to, like, when you're working on machines, and I love the embroidery sound, I think this is white noise for sewers. What if we made a white noise of just different sewing machines?
Sure. Yeah. All right. So we got that batting placement line down. Like I said, pretty easy. Just a small square.
Okay, Catherine, if you could order online what you want, we can potentially get those for you. Not tomorrow. You can order online. Let's just order online and give us until Monday so we can get some stuff for you. We need to order the embellishment kit and the thread kit, so we got some time. But we can get you the fabric once we get that on Monday. We'll give you a call when the fabric kit is ready to be picked up. I'll get the thread kit and all of the other good stuff. I'll get your digital download. So maybe you can practice with some scraps before you get started. And then we'll get all of the pertinent information as fast as we can, because this was a little bit of a journey. We thought, like I said, we were ahead of the game and we got behind the game, but we are here no matter what, making sure it's a good game.
So we got a pretty large piece of batting here, much larger than that line we said, but no need to tape this down or anything. Just start sewing. It'll place it down and then we'll trim it. Our piece of batting is larger than the square, but that square is even pretty big. This whole block is going to cut down to 4.5 by 4.5. So that 5.5 by 5.5 piece of background fabric that we have is even a little large for what we need.
Well, that's always a good way with embroidery to make sure it's nice and centered and good stuff.
Trimming down to make sure you have a good square, have it centered, that kind of thing.
And it's going to go around twice on the batting here.
It'll do that on most placement stitches, just to make sure that the piece is fully down and stabilized.
More stitches, the better.
Yes. So now that that is done, we are going to actually take the hoop off of the machine and we are going to trim the batting off. Make sure you hold right here. Not a great view, but kind of hold right here where the hoop is coming off to make sure it doesn't move on you at all. So when you put the hoop back on, you're not off at all.
You want to go ahead and switch camera view so they can see our lovely faces while you trim?
Well, I'm going to show them a little bit how to trim on the camera first. So that's pretty zoomed in. When I'm trimming, I want to be about a 1/4 inch. There's not a great view here. Let's try this. So we want to be about a 1/4 inch from that line, just to make sure that anything that's going to sew is going to sew over it, but we are not close enough that we are kind of getting rid of the integrity of the stitch.
So why don't you cut just a little bit, and then we're going to show that again. Perfect. Do you like us learning on the fly? What do you guys think?
Like I said, we'll have more cameras for when we're filming and that kind of thing, but when we're just going live, it's a little bit harder.
Stop right there and show them what you're talking about.
Okay.
Perfect.
So right there, you see the stitch line, and that's the cut line. That's even maybe a little bit too much. Want about a 1/4 inch to 1/8 of an inch.
He's very good at that 1/8 of an inch. That's what I think. Catherine, does that make sense about what I said? If you could just order the stuff, you can choose what you want to be a part of, and then for sure you're going to want the digital designs. That's the bare minimum, and everything else is fun add-ons.
Yes.
So the stuff that you really want to think about, I think most importantly, is going to be this embellishment kit, because this is going to be in limited quantity. And as soon as I start getting the orders, I'm going to be putting in the orders with Kimberbell. We are going to get a ruler that they suggest for cutting. So we're going to have that as a tool, but not necessarily needed, but a good, I understand now why they have that tool.
We're going to be using a little bit of that embellishment kit today as well.
Awesome. Yes, because we're using, in what we can do, the foam that we have is just soft and stable. You can come get a 1/4 yard of this, or if you have scraps of it, that should be good.
All right, so I've got it all trimmed out.
You got it good, Catherine. It's fine. You're good.
Got it all trimmed out. This batting, I'm not going to be too specific on worrying about trimming corners and that kind of thing, because we're going to be putting a lot of layers of fabric over it and that kind of thing.
So any tips right there? Just gently putting your...
Always hold the carriage that you're putting it on so that, again, I don't push the actual arm forward and mess up my design at all. And then the other thing, whenever you take a hoop off of the machine and you're just trimming and you're going to go back to cutting or go back to sewing, make sure you stay on a flat surface and try not to push on the bottom of this stabilizer at all, because that can move your fabric, move your stabilizer, and now your whole design is going to be off a little bit. So the batting is tacked down. Now we're going to put our background fabric on.
So we just did this. Now we're going to work down here. We're working down through these instructions here, guys.
And this is where we're going to use a little bit of tape to make sure we hold that fabric down, because the batting was kind of heavy enough that it wouldn't move on us. But
so you want to show where we're going to put that tape?
Yeah. This tape is a little finicky, so it's going to take me a second to get the sticky part off. This is a tearaway, so you know what?
Pardon?
This is a tearaway.
You're
good. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a better view.
Look at that. We're working on the fly here. I'm going to say that about 5,000 more times, I think.
Once I get this tape off, we'll be good to go.
The worst part is getting some of that sticky stuff off of the products that we have. It just cracks me up a little bit. You need good nails.
Yeah.
How big of a piece did you pick up?
Not a decent sized one. Maybe
let me show. Can you show the one side
4
right
or
there?
5
that
inches long. This long.
That long is about 5 inches.
You know what? It's long about 4 or 5 inches. Could go a little bit longer. What I would recommend is always get a bigger piece of tape than you'll think you'll need. So I'm not going to tape down all 4 sides. That's a little much. I'm just getting down 2 sides. Once it gets a few stitches in there, the fabric will get held a little bit better. So
that's going to be, this is super cute. I'm super excited about the whole wall hanging. So even in all of the store, in our store up front, we have we're going to go put these guys right out there right away. There's a place for us to hang it. And everybody that when you come into the store will be able to see how our progress is going, which I think is going to be fun.
So now we are ready to sew the, you know what? I think I skipped a step.
Oh, look at that.
I skipped a step. We're putting down the background placement line first, which it's going to be pretty obvious where the background fabric is going. So,
okay, and we are on camera 1.
And we're on camera 1 right now because I want to show them sewing the background.
So red is okay. Thank you. I just need to know right.
What's on the top right?
Okay,
we're showing.
Look at that.
Like I said, pretty obvious where the background fabric was going. Now we can tape down our fabric. And you have plenty of extra fabric with the 5x5 square.
And you can feel through there? You can feel the stitch line a little bit.
You can feel the stitch line and the stabilizer.
So that's something to take your time with and make sure you
We good?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
No, you're good.
You just jumped a little bit. You scared me.
No, we're good.
And even I didn't send her that the greatest. But like I said, you have plenty of extra fabric around the whole thing. And it's sewn through the tape a little bit, but that's fine.
And that can be taken away.
Yes.
But it's stable.
All right, so now that placement line is done. You're going to be tempted to probably take your fabric off and trim it, but we are not trimming our fabric at all here. That is just a set down line. I'm going to take the tape away, and we are going to do our actual quilting.
So we still have the cream thread. So far, all we've been using is cream thread.
Yep. And if you're going to do all the quilting at the end, whatever, once you get it all pieced together, then this is completely unnecessary for you. You can skip these steps and you'll just be putting down the fabric and then the ladybug on top.
All right. I'm going to switch camera views so we can talk a little bit while this is going on. All right. So again, we have, just to reiterate, let's go over what we just did. We had our stabilizer. We put down our stitch line in cream.
Yep.
Put our batting down.
Yep.
In cream. Put our fabric down with tape. And then we did our round stitch line in cream. And now we're doing our background quilting in cream because it's a matching color. You might have something different if you have a different fabric. Once again, this is more, I would say, Kimberbell with her beautiful fabrics that she has. This is from her line. So if you've done some Kimberbell projects in the past, some of her lines and her solids are going to be probably using this as well. So there's some great options. And this is more, I would say, of a pastel-y look to it because it's a mystery fabric, mystery quilt. But we're getting a pretty good hint at maybe if a wallflower, maybe that's a good little hint. What do you think?
Well, that would be the name of the live stream. So yeah.
Awesome. All right.
This is probably going to be the longest step, but even then it's 2 or 3 minutes. So this is a pretty small block.
About embroidery, I find this when I'm working on the computer in the back and Jake and Greg are working on the machines and they're doing this test run. It's very mesmerizing watching this machine go, just kind of like my long arm. It reminds me of just doing the edge to edge with my long arm. And there's something mesmerizing about the machine just working and doing its magic. I just absolutely love it.
Oh yeah, I could watch just an embroidery machine go all day. Just going along.
All right.
Like I said, a pretty quick step. So that was all we needed from this extra tips and tricks pamphlet. Now we are going. That's the quilting part of it. It also has tips and tricks for other things that you're going to be doing along the way, but it's mostly for the quilting.
But you don't have to do the quilting.
You do not. When
you make your blocks.
No.
We chose to do the background, the quilting here. Let me show and should get closer to see if I can show you. Of course, I'm pretty short, so I'm going to come around here. So what we need to do is we're going to, right there, you can see how that quilting is right there. So you do not have to do that. It's not mandatory. You know, it's an option. I think it's beautiful and it's fun. So what I would do after I put the whole wall hanging together is we're going to put this and sew all these blocks together. I'm going to put it on the long arm and I'm going around these designs to make this with my backing. So that's all I would do is just outline each individual design as we keep going forward. So 2 options. One is to do the quilting now. One is to do the quilting later. Yep.
And then there's still going to be backing fabric on the design, so you don't have to worry about what bottom thread you're using or that kind of thing. Now we are going on to the actual ladybug. So if you're going to be doing the quilting after, you would go to option 2 in here, but we're going to be following along with option 1. You don't have to switch off of cream right now because we're putting the placement line down for our wings, and really your placement line can be any color, but I'm just going to switch to black now instead of doing it later.
There you go. There's a great, there you go. I like having options.
Yeah. If I could get the thread on the machine, that would be great. Okay.
Is it being a little difficult?
Just a little bit. Getting the spool on.
You know, thread is its own little beast.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay, now we're going to go back. We're back on us, so now we're going to change it to the...
So right now we are just putting the set down line for our flexi foam, which is part of the embellishment kit. So this is also a step you can skip if you're not using the embellishment kit. Or if you're not using the embellishment kit, you can use batting here, anything like that. It's just going to add a little bit of texture to the wings.
So let me show you what we're talking about doing right here. So if I have the wings this way, you can see how the wings are poofy.
Pull it back a little bit. You're pointing to this camera.
Okay.
Yep. So the wings have some texture to them.
I call them poofy.
Mm-hmm.
I like poofiness. So a poofiness factor right there, which is kind of fun. And then they're kind of squishy to play with too.
And we're using this foam, which is pretty thick. I would say about 1/4 of an inch thick, maybe even 1/2 inch thick.
No, it's a 1/4.
1/4 inch? Okay. So we're just putting the placement line for that down first. You can use any batting for this, but this foam adds a very nice texture to those wings, especially when you're looking at it as a wall hanging.
It adds depth.
Yes, depth. That's a good word for it.
All right, look at that go. Super fun. All right, look at that. We have the placement where the 2 wings are going to go.
So the piece I have is a little bit large. A 3.5 by a 3.5 inch square is what's recommended. I think I have around a 3.5 probably by 4 inches. We need another piece of tape.
Oh, heck yeah, that could move, couldn't it?
Yes.
I could see that being a problem.
Especially with the pressure foot height, you're gonna see it push down into that foam quite a bit. So especially with this piece right here, make sure you got a bigger piece of tape than you think you need.
So you just do it on the 2 short sides here, not the long sides?
We'll see how well it's taped down with the 2 short sides. It's however much you think you need to hold it down. And luckily, this is a pretty early step. So if you mess it up, you're just down the piece of background fabric.
We're not going to mess it up. It's going to be perfect. Stitches can be removed. It's all good. Unstitching is a skill. Did you know that?
You know, in my beginning boot camp class, I said I wasn't going to pick up the seam ripper at all, which I didn't really. I picked it up once, but yes, seam ripping or ripping out
is a skill.
Is a skill.
So you have 2 pieces on there right now. Why do you think you need a 3rd one?
Just to be safe.
Just to be safe. That's always good, right?
It's better to spend 30 seconds now to be safe than want to redo the whole block. Because you'll see right now that foot pushes down into that foam pretty far. So I just want to make sure it's not going to move on me.
Here's the magic though.
Yeah.
Oh. And going around that twice, even though it's stabilizing that stitch, it also with that foam creates more of that depth. I absolutely love it. See, I'm the play-by-play person.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
You're going to have to do quite a bit of play-by-play after this because trimming the foam is probably going to be the hardest part of this block. And look at that right there.
It moved on you.
It moved, but luckily we had gotten enough stitches in that we're fine. I think actually having the tape there caused a little bit more of a problem because it got caught on that foot.
Got caught on your this guy right over here on the side.
And this embroidery foot for the Meridian too is pretty big. You won't have to worry about with some of the other machines. But
okay, so right now what you're going to do is
I am now taking it off.
So show us the tips
hoop.
since we're kind of close in here. Actually, move to the other camera and show what it's like to take this off. What would you do for taking that off here?
So for this style where there's kind of a carriage, I would flip up the lever to pull it out, but then I'm going to grab onto the part that I would insert it into to make sure that's not going to move on me as I pull the hoop out.
So basically pressing down on this.
Mm-hmm. Not pressing down on this, but grabbing onto the actual part of the machine.
Good to emphasize right there. So while he is cutting, so why don't you start and show him how you're getting started right there.
So it's going to be a similar thing to previously, about a 1/4 inch, maybe even closer, because this foam is pretty thick. So you have to make sure you kind of pull it up and cut that bottom as well when you get close to that cut line. And this is going to be the hard part in here. This is kind of why I have those curved scissors. Just getting in between these wings and cutting in there can get a little bit hard.
So take your time, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Take your time. A little bit of finessing, but that's where the fun is, right? That's what I think is fun.
Yeah. I mean, that's where you can get a lot of the difference in quality is, did someone take their time? Did you take your time doing this? Don't speed run it. Taking a little bit more effort to go through this is going to make
face a little bit
the
more.
end product go a lot better. We're on the right camera.
Pardon?
I was just making sure we're on the right camera.
We are on the red camera. Yes, we are doing really good. Pretty amazing.
Yes.
Usually Jake's here. He's the IT guy. Greg's the backup IT guy. I'm not the IT person.
So I got it. The edge is pretty well trimmed out, but if you can see, like right backwards, right there, I'm still a little bit far. So that's where I'm going to take my smaller scissors and kind of get closer to that stitch line.
Take these itty bitty little guys right here.
Yes. The curved ones that we showed at the very beginning.
And then when you get started, can you show that in the middle here before you get started, how you start down just maybe one side?
Mm-hmm.
That would be, I think, a good tip right there.
Yeah.
He's just like throwing it on the floor. Do you all have like a little trash can next to your area? That would probably be a good thing.
When I'm not here, this is Jake's office area, so he can clean it up. So this is where I like these duckbill scissors.
Okay, why don't you show me? See if you can by chance up there. There you go.
I'm going to be going in underneath here and cutting. Just kind of got to be feeling so that you don't punch through the fabric underneath. It will get covered up, but we don't want to weaken the strength of it. So I'll go down one whole side and then go to the other side once I get one side released.
Perfect. That's a great hint.
And if you need to cut down the middle to kind of get one side easier to do, you don't have to get a 1/4 inch close to that cut seam on your first cut. You can obviously take a few different cuts to do it and clean it up, that kind of thing.
I tend to like it to grab the biggest part of the fabric as I can. So the one, when you cut down closest to the one wing right here, when you cut close to this wing right here, then you have that piece of the batting that you can roll back here to cut against this side right here. Cross my fingers, as I get older, get to be less nimble. But it's all good. This is where we're going to take our time and trim nicely.
Yes. Make sure you use good sharp scissors so you don't get, especially later when we're cutting actual fabric, much fraying. That will very easily show through.
Keep those scissors sharp.
Yes.
These are things that we do need to replace every once in a while. If they're starting to get dull, it's not a good tool. So tools need to be able to do their job. So just remember that it's a good to have your equipment ready to go.
So I got it all cut out right now. I cut pretty close to the cut line right there. But should be doing good right there. And this will get covered up pretty well, so don't worry about getting rid of small tails and that kind of thing. Putting this back on, I'm gonna once again hold on to this on the front so that I'm not pushing on the machine, I'm just pushing the hoop into the machine. And now we are going to be putting the antennas down for the ladybug.
Okay, we need to switch cameras.
Yes. So this will be the last step that you need to have black for sure. This is the last step. I might just be lying right now.
Yeah, you are, because you have to do that.
I am lying. It is not the last step.
You got to do the body.
This is actually technically the first step that you need it to be black. These you can still be using cream because this is all going to get covered up. So now that is done, we are going to be sewing the placement line for the body. So we need this black fabric for the next step, but this will show us where we need to place that black fabric. And you may get a little bit loud here when you're going through that foam. If it's not quite trimmed all the way to that cut line, you're going to be going through a little bit, but we're just putting down the placement. So it doesn't really matter if it goes through the foam.
Which is nice, though. It's going to tack down that foam. Those
Yep.
little pieces that you left up are now going to be tacked down. So that's going to be a great help for you.
It's pretty obvious where we're going to place the body. So not a super necessary step, but it's going to be in the program. No getting rid of it. You have a pretty large piece of fabric for what you're doing, which is fine. Mine is especially large because, like I said, the kit will tell you to have 3.5 by 3.5. I think mine's maybe 4.5 by 4.5. Maybe.
Yes. I think it's 4.5 by 4.5.
Okay.
We had multiple hands on our product today, so that's
Yes.
why. Other people were helping us. The staff was helping us. We have little fairies around here. We have little embroidery fairies helping us.
Plus, if you're doing this scrappy, I mean, you don't have to cut down the piece of fabric to 3.5 to put it on the hoop.
I like that tape, though.
It is nice. I think I've gotten the trick to getting it off of here. So we're going to call that good. This tape,
You got to show them real close.
it's fusible on one side.
So get up there in the camera and see.
I'm changing camera. It's fusible on one side, and that fusible has some sticky stuff on the other side. And it's kind of a wax on the other side. So I'll grab this fusible, is pretty textured, so I'll get my fingernail in there. I have pretty good fingernails right now. Hold it and peel it back, which gives me a good corner to grab onto. And peel it off.
Put my microphone off now that I had a coughing fit. That's great.
2 pieces is going to be good to hold that down. It's not going to be pushing into that fabric too hard. And now we're going to go ahead and sew. I believe this will tack down maybe twice.
Yep, always twice.
It is going to get a little loud doing this, going through so many layers and going through that foam.
Not too bad, though.
No, not too bad. Now we get to do the fun part again. We're taking it off to trim that fabric. Making sure I'm holding on to the free arm. And now I'm trimming.
Let's show them that again and get what you're going to be trimming. See if we can just get that close up on the camera there.
Sewed that body down, the body stitch line. So now we're going to be cutting around it. This is going to get a little tricky because you have those bumps from the foam. Which way to go? So you're going to have those bumps from the foam. So trying to cut around those can get a little tricky. That's where I like the curved scissors kind of getting in there.
Can you show the back of that real quick so they can see?
That is what the back is looking like so far.
Look at that. It's a ladybug. Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
I think it's super cute. These scissors are great, and they have all kinds of different styles. So you need to find out which tool is one of your favorites. We do like, for sure, I'm going to go right here real quick. Let me see, right there, we got the sewing machine. Let me see if I can focus in on this. It's probably going to focus in on Greg.
I'll try and hide.
There you go. I got to work on this camera thing.
So those are pretty big for what we were doing. But
these are big, but do you see how this reminds me of, like, it looks like a duck. The duck bill, ha-ha, but even more so, it has a little bit of a point. Most of the duck-billed scissors come to here and then end right here. But the Quilter Select that we have here have this extra point. So sometimes we like this here, where we can get into those extra tight little corners. So we do like the Quilter Select duck-bill scissors. Quack, quack. All right. Nice and quiet while Greg is thinking, because he's cutting away.
Gotta focus while cutting.
Yes, you do. But that's all good. I can't wait to go put these out on our little wall hanging. It's going to be so much fun.
So I'm going to show you a little bit while I'm cutting. And like I said, whenever you take the hoop off, always be careful to not push on the bottom. But you were going to see the stitch line from the wings pushing down that foam. Don't worry about that. That isn't supposed to be covered by the body. Those will get covered by the wings. What you really want to be careful with this step is cutting out this head, because it's not going to do a full satin stitch. So you're still going to be able to see those edges a little bit. So really be careful around the head. Use sharp scissors. Make sure you don't get any fraying while you're cutting.
Look at that.
Because you'll be seeing that raw edge a little bit. And I'll actually show you. I used dull scissors on the first time I did this. And if I can get it to focus, you can see that fraying right there. So make sure you use some sharp scissors.
But from right here, you can't see it.
That's very fair.
So don't worry if it happens to you. From here, you can't see it. So don't worry about it at that point. Just to have fun, and it's a hairy ladybug.
And this is going to be a pretty small block on the quilt. So
for sure. But it's going to be the cutest, I think. I do love ladybugs. I love ladybugs. I'm sad that we have the Japanese beetle that looks like ladybugs, but they bite.
Yeah.
So those invaded Nebraska. That's not fun. But that's okay. Again, it's all good. I'm just excited to see this just progress all the way through. So it was kind of cool. Kimberbell, they did such a great job of promoting this down at market for all of us. I thought it was so cool. They didn't actually have a picture of, they didn't actually have this hanging for people to see, but they had the old, remember when we were younger, and the little disc that we put in with pictures, and clunk, clunk, and it turned, and clunk, clunk. It was so cool. It was so much fun and watching everybody. I got pictures of Jake and Greg looking through. It's pretty awesome. All right.
Let's turn that on. All right. So I got it all trimmed up. The edges down here will get covered by a good satin stitch, so don't be super particular about those. Be a little bit cleaner up here. These corners right here, though, are where I really like having scissors with a sharp point to make sure you could get deep in there and get good close to the 1/4 inch close to that cut line. And that's where those duckbill scissors that she showed you were a little bit too big to get in there. So we're going to use the black for a couple more steps.
Oh, I was getting ready for the red for you.
We're going to hold this as we put it in.
Perfect.
Put it down. Always be a little bit careful.
Can I see that tape for a second?
Yeah, right there.
No, your old pieces. I want to try something. A little hint here. So he's got some fuzzies. I don't want to move the backing fabric, right? So I'm taking my tape. Jake or Greg, can you change the camera view? You can see some fuzzies in here. I'm just going to very gently take my tape and use the tape to pick up all my fuzzies, because I don't like fuzzies. So there.
So now that we got it cleaned up, we're going to do the body decorative stitch. So right here, I'm going to wake the machine up. Took long enough cutting that my machine went to sleep, but right here you'll see it's not doing a full satin stitch on that head or on the bottom down here. So that's why we took our time and had made sure we cut those edges well and didn't fray. All right, so now we're putting the wing tack down lines on, or placement lines down. You don't have to switch to your red thread for this because it's just going to get covered by the fabric, but I'm going to switch to the thread to make sure that nothing is going to peek through or anything like that.
Can't wait to get this front camera view for you guys to see some of the fun things going on this side of the camera. So I'm on this side of the machine. Kind of fun, like having all of these cameras. I feel like I'm important, but I'm not. It's just fun watching the machine and hanging out with you guys. I think this is like a lot of fun.
I just love that needle threader.
We're gonna have to talk about that next time.
We are putting down the wing placement line. It's pretty obvious where the wings are going to go, but
maybe where the foam is?
Yeah.
Oh,
probably where the foam is. The design is always going to have that in there, though, so. And this is something to bring up as well right now. It's going to have all these steps on your embroidery machine that might be listed off. And it will have all sorts of different colors when it's loaded onto your machine, right? Like right now, my machine is telling me to use a light blue. But always listen to what your instructions tell you. So don't listen to what the machine says. It's always going to use different color threads and that kind of thing. But we have a good idea where our wings are going. I have a large piece, so I'm just going to kind of throw it down there and put some tape down.
Right, because that foam is making it not lay flat.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to make sure that that tape is there to help.
We don't want to get wrinkles or puckering or anything like that.
That'd be sad.
I said I had the trick down, but I didn't.
Oh. Well, you know, tricks change. Did you know that? One time you think you got it, and then I think all of us quilting stuff keeps us humble.
Yeah.
How does that sound?
Yeah.
Just when I think I got it down. But it's all good. Keep on going. I love it.
All right, so now it is all put down. So we're going to sew these stitch down lines on it. This part you do want to make sure you have a red thread in. We're going to be doing
matching with your
matching with your color. We are going to be doing a satin stitch, but it would be pretty easy for some thread to be seen through or that kind of thing.
So you want to match the thread that's going to be on the satin stitch and your fabric.
Yes.
There you go. That's a good way to put it. All right. We have to cut around fabric again.
Favorite time to, yeah.
What, you want to change the camera view again?
Trim stuff. Hold on. I'm going to hold on to this right here. This is kind of the part I've been talking is the part I've been talking about. Is where my hoop actually slides in. I just want to make sure that doesn't move on the belt at all.
And then back. Well, he cuts through around those wings. If you don't have this tape, what Greg was talking about is we do use this green painter's tape to help with that as well, because painter's tape does not leave a residue. So this is an option as well.
It is an option. I would definitely use, especially with painter's tape, use more tape than you think you'll need.
Absolutely.
You see, I've been putting one strip on a side of the fabric. With painter's tape, I'd maybe put 2 strips, that kind of thing. Because it is not quite as sticky.
Right, because it doesn't leave that residue, right?
Yep.
So let's talk about what's in some of this kit here.
And now I'm getting close to that foam while cutting, so I'm going to switch to those curved scissors.
And I like the way these have these, we have some beautiful flowers right here that are labeled March. This here has 3 worms, inchworms, and 3 butterflies. We have some more stabilizers. We have our little pom-poms that we're going to use. Let's see, what else do we have here? Plus, it's just a cute little bag. Oh, my goodness. Got to open it up here so it gets a little bit of room to breathe. There we go. Look at that. We're going to open it up. It opens up into a bigger pouch. I was keeping it all squished. Look at that. It's super cute. Now we have lots of room in there for things. So we have all of our little mylars that we're going to be using and some nice shiny sparkly fabric with some little green dots on it. I wonder what they're going to do with that. I can't wait to find out, Greg. It's going to be so much fun. Ooh, there's one more thing I left in here. Let's see what else is in here.
You know, we saw the quilt, but it was long enough ago that I have no idea what all this
I got some black buttons and some pink sparklies. That's going to be so much fun. I can't wait. Yeah, you guys got to see it. I don't remember looking at it. Well, I do kind of maybe. But I was taking pictures of you guys hanging out with the whole staff at Kimberbell. That was kind of fun.
This is where I like these duckbill scissors. I'm using that smaller side to get into that, but I'm using the bigger side to kind of ride against that foam.
All right. I am making this bag even bigger. Look at this. I'm making it bigger. So excited about all of this. Almost, if you wanted to go at a friend's house and work together, you could put your project stuff in here, take it with you, go hang out with a friend, and sew this together. That would be so much fun.
All right, so I got it all trimmed up now. Don't worry about having super clean edges here. Just roughly 1/4 inch to 1/8 of an inch, because this will all get put down with a pretty good satin stitch, so it'll all get covered up. And we want to make sure the stitches to hold the fabric in place are still pretty good while we're doing the satin stitch, so that it doesn't move on us while we're doing it.
All right, let's get the satin stitch going. Change that camera view.
I think this might actually be the longest step.
I think so too.
And it's definitely the longest step if you're not doing the quilting.
Satin stitch for sure. It takes a little bit of time.
Takes some time, and it'll get a little bit louder because your machine is going to be going through more layers. So.
And it does a couple of zigzags. I love watching the pattern. And the path of thread is so much fun, isn't it? All right, look at that. It's so cute. I love how poofy it looks underneath there, too.
Yeah, that foam adds a lot of depth to the quilt.
Yes, it does.
To the block, especially.
Yes. Oh.
And that foam is used a lot in this quilt. So they have you cutting it pretty thin with the embellishment kit, but we always have more of it at the store if you do end up needing it.
Yep. I love that foam. I love making bags on the long arm with that soft and stable. I absolutely love it.
And yeah, it's going to add a lot of texture to the whole quilt. So there's going to be 2 blocks that use it so far, because you're going to be making 2 of this ladybug for the quilt. So the 2 ladybugs, and then there's quite a few more blocks that use that foam.
What do you think you're looking forward to, Greg, in this journey?
Well, I'm looking forward to, I mean, seeing it slowly get put together, but kind of when we get those bigger blocks, because it's cool to see the foam on these small blocks, but how big of a difference that foam is going to make on those bigger blocks, because there are some larger chunks that get cut out later.
Oh, that's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, and have it slowly filled out on the wall hanging that we have. And I'm really excited to see your guys' quilts, and especially the ones that aren't using the fabric kit as well.
I think that's going to be fun.
That is where it could get cool, kind of your own color matching and that kind of thing.
And remember, you can make a couple of these if you want. Once you have the designs, just use them again and make something for somebody else. That would be kind of fun.
Oh, yeah.
You think? Use them over and over again. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Plus, we're going to be sewing all the blocks together, but in terms of making the blocks, you just have your embroidery machine doing it while you're sewing all the other ones together.
There you go. Keep on going. It's all good. I love it. And remember, I don't know if you know, but here at Fabric Dash, we have all of the Glide Hab and Dash colors, and they have partnered with Kimberbell. So we have the official Kimberbell thread kit, and then we have all of the colors of thread with Hab and Dash. So I love Hab and Dash. I love their trilobal polyester. We use it all the time on the long arms, and thread just brings great texture. I just love how it just brings texture to that.
Mm-hmm.
This right here, look at our little quilt back here. All of the texture here is just wonderful. I absolutely love it. This here we do have as a kit as well, Scott Flanagan's Field in Furrow, and he is doing a stitch along with us. And this one's the bright color, and we also have a neutral color as well. So we have both options, Field in Furrow, Scott Flanagan. So that's kind of a fun thing. So I love thread. Thread is so much fun.
I'm going to switch back to the ladybug as it's getting close to finishing up. It's got one more wing left to do.
I know, isn't that great? Look how it's so amazing.
Yeah.
Ah, you made me go down the embroidery tunnel.
Oh yeah.
Jake being sick, this is what it's gonna be. Oh no. Might just have to do some more, but you guys got it covered. I'm really excited. What do you think? We're going to do some fun things for bearded embroidery. We're going to do some stuff down in Kansas City, maybe
We're going to do
potentially.
some stuff down in Kansas City.
Yep.
We got some more stuff coming up for Kimberbell. Obviously, we got this so long, but the other thing that's coming up that I'm really excited for is the punch needle embroidery that they have. It's not machine embroidery, but it's still
right. It's another tool for the punch, and we'll talk about that too. But back to just specifically bearded embroidery, you two. We're going to do we have some project that we will have lined up that also use Sweet Pea embroidery designs. Yep. I have been talking to the boys about Juju embroidery designs, and we want to hear what your favorite embroidery designs are, because that is our best source, is what you like and what fun things we could do.
And then some embroidery designs that you can do quilting in the hoop.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't have a long arm, but you still want to do slightly automated quilting, that is a great way to do it, especially with these magnetic hoops.
All right.
And now we are all done. Looks like I got one thread to trim up here.
We're all done? It was that fast?
It was that fast.
Wow, that was so cool. So
there's a couple ways to do it now. You're going to want to trim this down to 4.5 by 4.5 inches. When we take it out of the hoop, just going to quickly unhoop it here.
Why don't you show them the magnetic hoop that we're using?
All right, yeah.
That's a good idea.
So this is a magnetic hoop. Baby Lock has quite a few of them, and we're using the 5x7 right now. So instead of trying to put the stabilizer down and hold it all in while you're trying to tighten the clamp screw on it, it's pretty easy. You just pull this off, put it on, and it has magnets that go around the whole side. So
there's 2 on the sides, 1 on the top and bottom each.
This hoop is one we actually got with the new Radiance that came in. part of the bundle with that.
So let's show them this part. We'll show more that it all connects there.
So those are all the magnets, or all the spots. So you have room for 2 smaller clips on each side here, and then 1 bigger clip here. So you'll see on the bottom of each of these, there's magnets that just line up right there and clip in.
That's a pretty strong magnet when you hear it click.
Yes, and it does take a little bit of effort to take it off. So right now we have this right here. It's going to recommend to use cutaway stabilizer. We use tearaway, so I'm going to make it a little bit easier to see just the block.
And then we're going to cut it down. So I'm going to come over here on the other side.
There's a couple ways to cut it down to 4.5 by 4.5. We are going to get the Kimberbell rulers specifically, and they're 4.5 by 4.5, but they're hollow in the center. So with this foam, you get quite a bit of texture. If you're going to put a regular ruler on top of it, it's going to get a little bit wobbly.
Right.
So they're empty in the center so that you can more easily get that 4.5, and get it squared up well with being able to see the ladybug. Any clear ruler, though, you can get to work.
You just got to remember, it's going to be a little rocky right over this foam. But basically, this is going to be the 4.5 by 4.5 right here. Because you can see we still have that 1/4 of an inch right here where we're going to be sewing those blocks together. So it's going to be great.
So for this one right here, you used a regular Martelli ruler, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, any regular ruler will work. From now on, we're going to be showing the Kimberbell specific ones. But,
isn't that cute?
Yeah.
Look how fun those are, you guys.
And now we got the 2 blocks right now. So we got 2 of the blocks finished for the quilt. And we will keep sewing along. We can do the January one right now.
Yes, we can do the January one, but Jake's sick.
Yes.
So we're going to wait till next week. But when I'll put a notification early. We'll see how he's feeling over the weekend and put in and the bearded embroidery here. We're going to put a little notification, probably send it out on an email as well. So tell your friends about our email list. Invite your friends.
Yeah. Not
seen anything. Catherine, I'm going to send you an email. How does that sound? I'll send you an email. Let me double check. I was putting stuff in. I do have a habit of, it's all good. We are making stuff, but I will send you an email, Catherine, of everything. So, were we on the other one?
I think we were on the other one.
Ah, look at that. All right. Not seeing any. I see what you're saying. Not seeing anything.
That is my fault.
That's the cameraman's fault right there.
So we'll show you again.
Right.
So this is the finished project. You can see the whole thing there. You have quite a bit of excess compared to this one right here. So this is after we cut it out. This you can cut out with a clear ruler, really any ruler, but you want to make sure you have a good way of centering the ladybug. We are going to be using Kimberbell specific rulers from here on out. I think we ordered them earlier today. And those have a hollow center so that this texture right here doesn't make your ruler all kind of wobbly and that kind of thing.
All right, Catherine, I'm glad you get our sense of humor. If anything, not around here, we're going to make fun of ourselves, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
All right. There's lots of self-deprecating humor that happens at our place, but it's all good. So now I see what you're saying. You were saying you didn't see us with the camera because we're, it's all good. Wow. Can you imagine us if we had a third camera, what we're going to do? That might be kind of crazy.
Maybe we'll get someone behind the scenes helping to change cameras. That would be nice. But
we do. We actually, we hired somebody. He has to give his 2 weeks notice and he is going to be starting. He's going to be a pivotal person and I cannot wait to introduce you to our newest employee. It'll be awesome.
Oh yeah. So next Friday, look out for a video. If it's not Jake, maybe we'll have you as a returning guest depending on how Jake's feeling.
Ooh, a returning guest. I'm so excited. Wow.
Yeah, we will see you next Friday.
Have a great weekend, guys. You guys are awesome.